Welcome to Custer Wolfe, building a watch company. Today, we are talking about all the little problems that you face when you try to design an amazing packaging experience for your customer. Specifically, how the heck we figure out how to put this awesome military edition watch inside an ammo can and ship it around the world to our supportive customers, among other fun things, like it being really cold right now. So, question of the day is, when are you coming to Washington, D.C.? Or can you do a trade show in Washington, D.C.? And the answer is no. That's the short answer. The long answer is, we were just talking about, like, I think the last two times I can remember going to D.C. was for the Great Republic retail store, which is an awesome store. I'm not sure if it's still there. And for American Field, which is now called Shop AF. And I don't think they do events in DC anymore. There is an event called District Time, and that's in March, but I already committed to something else over that weekend, so I can't do that. So I think we should pose this question back to our listeners / watchers and say, we're going to do a bunch of events in 2023. Especially as we come out with new products. Like, we want to put these watches in people's hands, as many as we can. We typically do, for the last few years, we do the wind-up watch fairs. We're going to do all 3 of those. If you don't know what that is, check that out. Those are awesome. windupwatchfair.com, I think. And so we'll do all of those: San Francisco, Chicago, and New York. But then we also do some like fine arts festivals throughout the country. And we can look in DC and see if there's any good. We haven't been to that area in a little while. But the question is, I'd love to start doing car shows and air shows, like knife shows. Like, so people there's like really cool everyday carry / vintage car things / there's like this massive air show in Minnesota, I think, that I was looking into. So if you live in one of those places that has one of those cool events that's about other cool guy stuff, is probably the only way I would describe that. Basically, people that like watches tend to like cars. If you're walking around an air show and you can buy an aircraft, you'd probably love the military edition, tell you what. So if you're aware of those shows in certain part of the country and we're not, put a comment underneath, send us a link, or send us an email. I don't want to overflow all of our inboxes, but you could probably figure out what our email addresses are pretty easy. It's RT and Tyler at Vortic Watches, respectively. So shoot us an email if you have questions or ideas around that. But yeah, we'd love to do more events, and we'd love to do different events. So hit us up with all those ideas. I have a question. Where do you want to go? You went to Wind Up. That was super fun.
Where do I want to go?
Yeah, watch specific.
Watch specific.
I'm thinking our next golf trip can't be Scottsdale. It probably has to be like somewhere else, because Scottsdale has the huge TPC golf tournament and the Super Bowl all in February. So we probably have to avoid that place.
Doesn't seem like a great reason not to go.
Well, just everything's 4 times as expensive. That's I was looking at it the other day.
I don't know. I have no idea.
We don't go to California for watches very often.
Yeah, I was gonna say LA, I feel like would be a good place for us, but
There's got to be some cool events there.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Texas, LA, Florida.
There's definitely cool stuff in Texas. Austin was fun. The Austin show that I just did was fun. Trying to get Wind Up to go to Texas, Austin or Dallas, like that would be a really good spot, I think.
Yeah, instead of San Francisco.
San Francisco was good.
Yeah.
A lot of people there. I guess that is in California, now that I think about it.
Geography.
Yeah, it's a big state. I mean, that's a very different side of the state. Anyway, you've been working on a lot of stuff. I think one of the coolest things is the stands for the military. So when you went down the rabbit hole of like, okay, we're making 65 stands this year, talk to us about like what changes you wanted to make and why, and kind of the process of saying like, how do we not make those stands take totally take over a machine for a month and a half.
Yeah, so I am gonna, my next episode that I film by myself, I'm gonna go into depth on all this stuff.
Hell yeah. Give us
So-
the high level teaser.
So that's gonna come out after this,
Yep.
and you'll get more information. So I'll try to go like semi in depth, but I feel like you kind of have to start from when we started making these stands, just to like give context on the whole situation.
Take you back to 2019.
Circa 2019. It's March 21st at 3 p.m. I think it was sunny out.
That's early in the year.
No, it was sometime before we were shipping the first military edition.
Yeah.
And you had this stupid idea to put them in these ammo containers.
Yep.
And we just had to scramble to make custom foam. And it's like a full sheet of foam per package. And then as we went to package these things, we noticed that when you open the lid of the ammo container, the whole container wants to just tip over backwards.
Not going to believe this.
So,
which just all the shit just like fell out of the first one. It
was not a good unboxing experience.
Shipping something in an ammo can is not a good idea.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the things that we do aren't like good ideas.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome.
They're cool.
When the customer gets it.
They're worth the effort.
It's totally
But if you're trying to make your life easy, they're not a good idea.
Yep. If we were doing one,
right.
Cool, fun. But yeah, they were like, oh, we have to do 50 of these things?
Yeah, it turns out our goal isn't always just to make our lives easier.
Yeah.
But our solution to the tipping over problem was make something heavy and put it in the front.
Yeah.
We're like, wouldn't it be cool to have a display stand?
Was that your idea?
I want to say it was your idea, but I forget.
I was just trying to figure out how to solve the problem of like, how do we get this to not tip over? I don't know. That was a mess.
Yeah, I don't remember being in an especially good mood at that point, but
it was successful. We sold all 50 of them really quick. So
yeah, and I think people like the stands, but so the first year we made the stands, it was cool because it was the first time, and they were made specifically for all the tools and the winding tool and all that type of stuff. Came out pretty neat. It was hard to make, but it was like the first time and it was cool. And then the second year we made them again, and we were making them on the mini mill.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, normally we're making watch cases, small stuff. These shipping stands are larger, so we're making a ton of chips, and aluminum chips are very like fluffy.
Yeah.
I guess is like
the whole bottom of the machine, it would look like snowfall.
So without getting too deep into it, chip disposal is a big thing in production. If you want a machine to run all day, every day, you need to get a really good way to get rid of the chips as you're machining.
Totally.
The mini mill is just an entry-level machine. It's not made to do everything perfectly. So like you'd have to just sit there kind of with a broom and keep sweeping out the bottom of the mini mill for multiple times every part, or the whole thing would clog up and overflow. And these parts were taking like an hour and a half per stand.
Yep.
So
I remember you telling me like the stand is going to cost us almost as much as like the watch case or something at this point.
Yeah. And
not worth it.
And we didn't know much. I mean, I learned how to machine on YouTube, right? So like,
yep.
I kind of know what I know, and I don't know anything else. So when we started machining aluminum, I didn't know how that worked. I was clogging up end mills, having a really tough time having consistent tool life and finishes, and it was just dumb because it's this little display stand.
All just to weigh down
so much effort.
A freaking ammo can, so the ammo can doesn't go. We got to make a little video of the ammo can, just kind of, And we got to show off the old stand and the new stand because, the finished product, like we get a lot of comments on how awesome the military edition watches are. But like that whole experience of unboxing, and now like it basically looks like a retail store display on your nightstand. That was like the intent. And I mean, pretty much every customer talks about it. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, 100% worth it.
Fast forward to now. At that time when you're sweeping the chips out, maybe not.
Fast forward to now, we made a few changes to the watch. The strap tool is different. We made the crown a lot easier to wind, so we don't have a winding tool. All things considered, we have the DMU, the 5-axis machine, which is totally set up to handle all of these situations I'm talking about. Tons of horsepower. I mean, this machine was cutting aluminum all day, every day, making AR-15 uppers in its past life before we bought it.
Yep.
So it's just totally optimized to do this kind of stuff. And as I was about to start writing the program to make the same thing as before, just on this new machine, I was like, an opportunity to make changes, as we often do, to slow ourselves down.
Yeah. Instead of just hitting go, let's change everything.
Yeah. And so then
Again,
Yeah,
worth it, I think.
I just kind of took the stuff that we had engraved on the old stuff and put it on the new one and changed the style a little bit, took advantage of the 5-axis. Again, without getting too deep into it, it's just way more optimized on a 5-axis and the way it's going and the way it's designed, because we can actually turn the part on its side instead of walking up the side slowly to make an angle.
Yeah.
And then made one, and then I showed it to William, and we had a bunch of cool ideas for engraving, and then I was like, damn.
Gotta change it again.
So then I spent a couple hours just messing with the engraving, and then, the Pandora's box kind of opened and ended up making some cool design. I think it's super cool.
It's awesome.
We kind of played with it and got a little silly with it. There's some, I don't know, they're not silly, but humorous, but like still on theme.
Yeah.
For the military edition, kind of military and aircraft themed. I kind of went on Google Images and just typed in like aircraft warning signs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It just kind of went through and was like, what can we kind of apply to this thing to make it look more like a full package instead of just a paperweight.
Yeah, and I think it turned out really well, and I think that's the level of intention that we put behind all the products, but especially the military edition. Like on the back of the lugs, where you said 316 and stuff like that. Like, I feel like most companies don't really do that, and we don't have to do any of that. Like, we're just putting pocket watches and wristwatches. Like, we could just slap it in there and send it to you. But I feel like the packaging for this product, it really makes that experience. It just rounds that out for people. So I think that's all just a really good teaser for your next episode. One thing to round it out, though, you said in the past they took hours to machine. How long does the DMU take to make one now?
Yeah, so we added a bunch of extra engraving on top of it. So without the engraving, I think they're only like 20 minutes.
Nice.
With the engraving, it's like 40 minutes total.
Cool.
Front and back.
Yeah.
So I think we went from like an hour and a half to 40 minutes.
I mean, which is by itself great. And I think our customers, the 65 people that get these military editions this year will tell us if they like the engraving or not, and see if we can
they're just
save that time. But I think it's cool.
They're super cool. I think they came out great.
And
we're currently, I think we got like 20 of them run off.
Yeah. And we're shipping.
So there's already some in the mail.
Yep. Yeah. We're shipping military. We shipped military edition watches yesterday. So that's exciting.
Yep.
Like less than a week after selling. So that's super awesome. And that's all part of what we were going to talk about, was just like packaging and shipping these watches is very different. Like our watch of the day watches, we cut foam to go inside an OtterBox dry box, and it's great. We get a lot of compliments on that, and we have the special outer packaging that it goes in. That's almost like a little shrink wrap, and it keeps it all safe. For the military edition, it's going in an ammo can, and it's this watch, and then a ammo can that's bigger than that one. So big ass ammo can. So it takes, like you said, a full sheet of foam, which those sheets are 24 by 36 or something like that. So we have to laser etch all the foam. But then, what else are you and Kyle doing besides, you got foam, you got the stand. We had to do a new screwdriver, right?
Yeah, it's a Torx screwdriver this year for the band bars to change your strap.
Yep.
But yeah, one of the big differences between, standard everyday shipping and military edition is just a batch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of watches at once. We're used to like a trickle. We list one watch a day, so we can't have the need to ship more than one watch a day normally.
Yeah, we're selling.
So that's big. Just you realize how small your space is once you're engraving 65 sheets of foam our giant pallet table in the center of the shipping room is just covered. It's just where do you put all this stuff? And
we got out some folding tables.
Yeah, we get out some temporary tables, and Kyle's got a whole production going on over there, engraving case backs and crowns and prepping the boxes and the display stands and all that type of stuff. And then we use that expanding foam once they go within the boxes to make sure everything's in there tight.
Can't just throw some bubble wrap around an ammo can and put it in a cheap USPS box. Like that's double. That's like twice as thick corrugated box that it goes in. Those are really expensive shipping boxes, 14 by 14, I think. So big buy. It looks like you're getting a case of wine delivered. Like that's really what it looks like. And then that expanding foam is cool.
Yep.
I didn't know about that until we tried to figure out how to ship the first one.
Yeah, you kind of like put it in the box.
Yep.
And then put the ammo can in, and the foam kind of expands around it and forms to the shape of it.
Yeah, some kind of chemical reaction.
Yeah, it's a lot when you're doing 65 in a row.
Yep.
But like, just goes to show, like, we changed the box that we put it in a little bit. There's so much work, even just for less than 100 products, to change the packaging. I mean, everything's different.
Yep.
The box, the process, the shipping labels are different. It's more expensive. It's for a product like the military edition. It's fun to have a product like the military edition where it's just like it doesn't matter.
It's worth it. That's what
we can just take everything,
all the time and effort, because those 65 customers are so excited. I think we have at least 6 people that bought the military edition this year own one of the previous editions of the military edition. So this is their second military watch. So it's worth it.
Yeah.
People get excited about it.
And especially for those people, we've tried to change it up each year, and this year the stand's a cool part of that because it's
cool.
very different.
Super, super cool. So I started off this episode, I think, just complaining about how cold it is and how people suck at driving as soon as the snow comes down. So the other thing we upgraded in the building that we didn't know we needed was thermostats, because I guess normal thermostats or off-the-shelf thermostats just have a hot button and a cold button, right? So
yeah, well, we just kind of left everything that was here when we were doing the renovations. We wanted to save everything that we could possible, but we've noticed that once we have equipment running during the day, we actually need to run air conditioning even if it's during the winter. And we've been coming in, so it's hard to remember to keep switching the switch on the thermostat back and forth between hot and cold.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it seems like a stupid little issue, and like, why would you spend money on thermostats? Just go over there and flip the switch. But like, somebody makes a mistake and all of a sudden it's 60 degrees in the machine room when we come in, and we have to kind of warm everything up to get it up to temperature.
Yep.
And that was one of the huge reasons that we spent as much money as we did on the machine room, is because when we can hold that room temperature consistent, both with the machine room and the assembly room and inside the machines too, it's like pretty noticeable difference in accuracy.
Yeah, and we are in Colorado, and it gets cold here.
And it's officially the season where you need like 3 layers. It's not even just 2.
Yep.
It's like morning, you have an overcoat on.
You're dying.
Mid-morning, you've got 1 layer. And then by afternoon, you take your top layer off, and then reverse order.
Yeah, because the sun comes out, sun warms it all up, and then sun goes down at what feels like 3:45 in the afternoon at this point. And then it's cold AF again by the time we get in our cars and go home. So
yep,
just all part of it.
And we've got a lot of windows, which is great, but the sunlight really raises and lowers the temperature when it's coming through the windows pretty significantly.
And we've talked about, like, okay, do we need a second location in Arizona? Do we move to Arizona? All that stuff. Like, it's just so nice and warm there. But it'd be the same, but now I guess opposite problem in the summer. I can't even imagine if you had
You would just put it on the cool side. We wouldn't need new thermostats.
just make it cold, please. Yeah. I can't even imagine. Especially this kind of like building with the windows and everything, like that kind of natural light. We would just literally be baking. So other problems, I guess.
Yeah. Something seems small and insignificant, but you still got to
here we are.
Cross all your T's and dot your I's.
Yep. other fun and exciting thing that happened like just a few days before the military edition launch, and we knew this was coming because we sent them watches, I mean, years ago. Jack Ryan and Michael Kelly, the two like main stars, or
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski and Michael Kelly, the two main stars of Jack Ryan on Netflix, have a bunch of video content and pictures coming out because they launched season 3, and they're wearing military edition watches.
Hey everybody, John Krasinski here with Michael Kelly and Wendell P.
Hey everybody, John Krasinski.
John Krasinski's wearing our 3rd edition, and Michael Kelly's wearing the 1st edition. And there's a bunch of cool videos of them like doing a press tour or something, like just talking about the show, both wearing military edition watches. And like for any fellow Office fans out there, you know, you're just like, holy shit, that's our watch.
Jim's wearing our watch.
Jim. It's so cool. And so we've started some conversations with them, and maybe I can do a whole episode about like product placement and how that works. But what happened there was we got a watch on Michael Kelly in season 3 of Jack Ryan, and that was the 1st edition. And I think he's actually wearing my personal watch because like we didn't have many extras. So I was just like, yeah, this is so cool. And John Krasinski saw it on Mike Kelly's wrist and was just like, why don't I get one? Like, that's really cool. And they emailed us and they were like, can we get a watch for John Krasinski? And I was like, yes. You know, like,
Yeah, right, because it just like didn't fit his character in the show
yeah,
for whatever reason.
it was in that episode or whatever. I'm not really sure. Or that season. And then, so we sent the 3rd edition after we finished those to John Krasinski for season 4. So it'll be Mike Kelly is wearing one in season 3, and then both of them are wearing Vortic watches is in season 4, which season 4 won't come out for, I mean, a while probably, but season 3 comes out, I think, like right now. So that's gonna be really fun to like watch and kind of like look and see like, oh, there it is. Oh, you know. So
Yeah. Moral of the story: Jim's wearing our watch.
Jim. super exciting. And that stuff, you know, is gonna keep happening. We got people out there looking. So super exciting. What else is going on? I've been doing a lot of traveling, you know, just putting the military edition watches, you know, many people's wrists as possible. But
It feels like the end of the year is today, you know, so we're kind of wrapping up, just thinking about what do we need to do by the end of the year to make us consider this year a successful year.
Yep.
You know, we're going to finish the military edition with no problem. We're going to do some optimization things for the machines. We're going to hopefully get a couple prototypes out the door before the end of the year for some of the new stuff coming up.
Yep.
So that's really where we're kind of in like wrap things up for the year mode, and just thinking about next year, what we want to tweak and what we need to do differently.
that can be next episode. That'd be exciting. I think the next one might be one of the last ones for this season.
I was about to say,
of
it
the
feels
show.
like the end of a season.
Yep. I think so. We're there. So that's it for this episode of Custer and Wolfe Building a Watch Company. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to keep learning about all the awesome stuff we're doing here at Vortic Watch Company and all things in this building, you can subscribe on YouTube here. You can also go to vorticwatches.com and hop on our email list. We send an email every week when we distribute one of these episodes on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Give us a follow and let us know how we're doing, of course, all the time in the comments. We want to hear your questions. Thank you.
Nailed it.